head coach of the women's basketball team there called the Aces. And we were asked, but they were trying to put, like, sometimes when you do a convention, they try to, like, bundle things together. Like, you know, maybe you could do an appearance here while we have you in town. And so one of the things that they asked us, would you like to meet Bill Laimbeer? We hear that he was once a sleestak. Well, Bill won't do any shows with us. He wants like $100,000 guarantee, so he's never going to be coming to any shows. Yeah, but anyway, we somehow made it over to the Mandalay Bay where
we were at the Star Trek convention, because, you know, Land of the Lost was written by the Star Trek writers. And we're the only show other than Star Trek that's allowed at the conventions. And so Bill is coaching over at the Mandalay Bay with the Aces.
And when we walked in, you know, I guess his reputation, not only with, like, on the basketball court, but with just everybody, is not very good, because they said they have never seen him take as much time off the court and be as kind and nice as he was when we got there. But when we got there, all the girls had made those wooden sticks with the face on it of sleestak. So when we arrived, they all went like this.
He didn't know we were coming. And we walked in, he's like confused. And he's like looking around, and Kathy and I, of course, they don't look like I used to look. I don't know if you've noticed. So anyway, yeah, and so we come in and we have a sleestak heads and stuff. He finally gets that it's us. And you know, Bill he's 7 feet tall on his bare feet. So the sleestak were about 10 feet tall they had the lifts on their shoes and the pointed heads. And you know, we do the photos and the news is there and all that stuff. And we finish, and I gotta go. You know, he has to go coach and stuff. And the owner of the league comes up and he says, Wesley, he says, I've known Bill Laimbeer since he was a college basketball player. I have never, ever seen him smile this much.
We didn't really know how famous our sleestaks were. We knew that they were basketball players from different universities, but we didn't know. They were just really nice guys, and people say, God, weren't you afraid of them? They were wearing like a wetsuit, and because we're in California, all of you have seen this as you're driving down PCH. When you see surfers getting into their cars, they've got their wetsuit peeled down to their hips and, you know, in a white t-shirt or something. That's how they spent most of their day on the set, because those costumes were so hot, and the lights above, they were just melting. So they literally only filmed for like 15 seconds at a time. It was
maybe a couple of minutes. They weren't breathable back then. And in fact, Mike Westmore, who did the costumes, of course, he did all the Star Trek costumes too, and he has the show Face Off on TV with his daughter. And they went to the surfer company that makes the wetsuits, and they ordered the largest you could get. In fact, they made special ones. And he put the green scales on and built the head and stuff like that. And it wasn't breathable. So they were sweating like crazy. And his son at the Star Trek convention said, a few years ago, said, you know what? I was in my dad's garage, and I found the original mold for the heads. And I said, could you make us some? And he says, let me think about it. So, but Sharon, how was it for you putting on the costume for Sa? What was that like?
Well, it would take maybe an hour or so for Mike to glue all the makeup on and stuff. It's not the most extensive animal costume that I've worn. Rat Boy, it took 3 hours to put on and 2 hours to take off. But the same thing with the costumes that we wore back then were extremely hot. That one was actually better because we didn't have the foam rubber heads on us because we could still breathe, but as I say, it was quite glamorous.
Well, you know, yes?
You were speaking of the tall guys. What about working with Richard Keel?
Richard Keel. Malik, he played I think the Cyclops. Was it yeah. And we did 2 episodes, right? The most amazing guy you can imagine, the sweetest, gentlest, with the man with the biggest hands you have ever seen on this planet. He would take my hand, and Kathy and I would see him years later at the Star Trek convention. He was in Star Trek, of course. He was in 007, played Jaws, right? And his wife was my height. And he was up there, and I said, how the hell did you guys ever get together? He said, we were in college, I met her at a bar when we started college, and we started dating, and they had the most amazing relationship until he passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, and just the kindest man.
Very sweet. The wardrobe lady was a good friend of my family, and she told me one day that when he first came in for the fitting of that Malachi character, he needed like those kind of Roman sandals, and she said his feet were so crippled because back then, like today, like people like, these basketball players and stuff, they can buy, shoes that are size 27 or whatever. I mean, they're available to them, but when he was growing up and he had spurts of growth that were just, crazy, there wasn't anything to house his feet. So he would cram himself into things that were on the market. And so she said, it was kind of sad to, be measuring out his feet for the sandals and seeing the damage that had been caused because of just, there wasn't a market for people of that size. They're very limited, so anyway, but he was a sweetheart, and his wife wasn't your size. She was 5'1".
Yes.
Really tiny.
Hey. 5'1". Guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up. Just take one more question. Who has the best question you could ever ask? Okay, go ahead.
All right, Wesley, I got a question. So why wasn't season 3 all of a sudden it became a musical? You sang at the end of every episode.
He goes, why did season 3 become a musical? Because I sang so much. Because I was fabulous.
We're going to end on that. I think we should.
And I just want to let you know that it was the Osmonds, the Osmond family that I recorded. I would go to their apartment house across from the Mormon Temple in Santa Monica, and it was the oddest thing, guys. These are rich people. They got lots of money. Well, they owned this apartment house, and they didn't have light. I mean, there was no light plates on the switches, and I was going, what is wrong with these people? And inside they had a studio, and we would go and record the little 1-minute songs. But listen, we want to, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys for showing up. I cannot believe that Derek Zemrick put this together, got us all together. So, thank you guys. If you have more questions, we'll be outside.
Thank you, Kathy, Sharon, and Wesley. They'll be outside.